Hey there, welcome to the channel. Have you ever been so afraid of ruining a page in your sketchbook that you didn't even start drawing in the first place? Today I'd like to share with you an easy but valuable exercise you can try, and it will help you to overcome this fear of failure. So a few years back, there was times where I was afraid to try new mediums and try new subjects because I just felt like I wasn't good enough, or that it's not going to turn out the way that I want. I was afraid I was just going to make a lot of mistakes. It would ruin the process, waste a lot of materials, a lot of time. And then the end result would just be terrible, and then I would feel terrible anyway. And it would just be a nightmare. And then eventually, after some years, I finally found the courage to try pen and ink for the first time. I was quite afraid trying to use this because I had always avoided pen and ink. And the reason I avoided it is because I just didn't like how unforgiving of a medium that it is. As soon as you put a mark down, that's it. There's no changing it. But after using them for a while, being patient, really giving them a chance, I realized that their permanence is actually more of a gift than a curse after all. So I'd like to share with you this exercise that I've kind of learned from my own experiences that will probably help you overcome this fear as well. So this is a simple exercise. The exercise is to draw ink sketches of things from life around you. Very simple sketches. For me personally, I enjoy drawing my cat. I have this entire sketchbook that I've yet to fill up, but it's dedicated to only drawing my cat in ink. And the reason I started the sketchbook is because I just wanted a place where I could just draw and experiment, play around with things, and not worry about if I made a mistake, messed up. There's no way to erase anything. This was a place that I can just freely draw and create and really practice one subject as well. And the cool thing about that is that it's only one subject. I didn't have to worry about what to draw. I didn't have to think about like, oh, what should I draw? I have this anxiety about what to draw or try to figure it out. It's already figured out for me. So any time of the day when I have free time or I just feel like it, I can pick this thing up. My cat's over there sleeping or wherever she is in the apartment. I can just go and just draw her and just do my best. Sometimes she moves, sometimes I finish it, sometimes it doesn't work out at all. So to start this exercise, and the way to do it is to just pick some subjects that are very simple, very simple. Don't overcomplicate it. It could be a cup, a bowl, some fruit, the trees outside, could be anything. Don't overthink this part because the subject here is not the important part. The important part lies in the process of drawing the subject. That's where the growth lies. And I want to make it clear, this exercise isn't even about accuracy or improving your skills. It has nothing to do with that. Although that may be an added benefit if you keep practicing this. That's not the goal for this exercise. This is simply an exercise to get you used to making mistakes and being okay with it. This is how you will overcome this fear of starting a drawing or having this fear of like making mistakes and ruining sketchbook pages or whatever other fear you may have about drawing. Be sure to tell yourself that it's really the process here that we're focusing on, not the outcome of the sketches. So let's talk about the materials that you'll need for this to do this exercise. All you need really is like a small sketchbook. It can be a white sketchbook or a tan sketchbook, doesn't matter. Any kind of small sketchbook. And the reason I recommend a small sketchbook is so that you'll do small, quick sketches. You can do a lot more small ones rather than one big large one. It's going to take you a lot more time. And then also when it's small like this, you won't get caught up in like all these little details. We're not here to focus on details. We're here to just sketch basic stuff like this. And I recommend using a brush pen. So a brush pen is a pen with kind of a brush-like tip. So you get these really thick lines like this. And you can also make them thinner where need be, but mostly you're getting these thick lines with this brush pen. There's a lot of different kinds of brush pens. Don't get caught up on it. Any kind of brush pen is fine. Now you can use a regular pen if you want for this exercise, but if you really want to follow it specifically, I highly, highly recommend a brush pen. I'll explain the reason for that because it forces you to draw these thick lines. And that way, really your sketches aren't going to be nice looking. They're going to be these thick black lines and you're forced into being bold. You're forced into doing this. The reason I came up with this and I started doing this is because it really helps, I think, it really helps to overcome this kind of perfectionism and this kind of fear with making mistakes. So if you're just forced to be bold and make these bold, thick lines and decisions, really quick decisions, it's going to help overcome that fear. Because in reality, these are just sketches. They're not meant to be final drawings. You're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen, especially if you're drawing a live animal like this, like a cat. There's so many times that I made mistakes. She doesn't even have a head in this sketch. So there's plenty of times where I've made mistakes and it's just part of the process. And what I found out by doing this and filling up many pages is that some sketches I really love, and then some sketches are just garbage. And you learn that the more you do, the more chances you're gonna get to getting a decent sketch or even a great sketch. So the idea behind this whole exercise is that because you're using a brush pen, you're gonna make mistakes. It's just inevitable, it's gonna happen. And for most people, making mistakes is the most uncomfortable part of drawing. But this exercise is here to kind of reinforce that mistakes are just part of the process. Every drawing that I've drawn, that others have drawn, there's probably mistakes in them. We just don't see them because we're looking at it from a different perspective than the artists themselves. Mistakes will always be made no matter what materials you're using. You know, we live in this world today consumed by digital media and digital art. It's so easy to just, when you mess up something, just Control-Z, edit, undo, 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 create a new layer. There's so many ways to fix your mistakes. The reason that I came up with this exercise is it's reinforcing that there's no way to fix your mistakes when it comes to traditional art like this. And that mistakes are not a bad thing. And this is just, it really desensitizes you to making mistakes. And it's not such a fearful thing anymore. That's really why I love this exercise so much, because it just makes you accept the reality. You know, when you make a line with this pen and the ink on the paper, there's no turning back, there's no escaping it. It happened and you have to accept it. Because you're drawing these sketches with nothing but ink. There's no pencil under drawing, there's no construction lines. It's just ink. And it makes you accept the reality. And eventually you might see that when you have a lot of sketches like this all together in the sketchbook, you'll see that some of the mistakes that you made actually have a nice character to them. They're actually beautiful and they actually fit in nicely within your drawings. Even though you see it as a mistake, it can actually be appealing or look good. So really the goal here is to just become comfortable with making mistakes. Get used to it. It's part of the process. So I recommend you try doing this exercise for 5 to 10 minutes a day or a few times a week whenever you have time. Just get out your small sketchbook and a brush pen and just start drawing something. Draw, like I said, draw some fruit, bowl, cup, trees, whatever is interesting to you. And I really recommend doing it from life, doing objects from life, you know, maybe a mouse, computer mouse, a chair, anything. Just do something that you're actually looking at in front of you. And that's just gonna help you improve your skills a little bit. It's better than like using a photo. So the more consistent you are with doing this kind of exercise, the more and more you'll get comfortable and used to making mistakes, because you'll be constantly drawing and you'll be constantly making mistakes. So then when it comes time to where you have time, you schedule out your time, you wanna do a final, 1 hour drawing of something, you won't be as afraid anymore. You'll be more confident and you'll know that if you make a mistake, you can just erase it with the pencil. It's not gonna be a big deal. Sometimes when you do these like 1 or 2 hour drawings, you won't realize till maybe the next day when you look at it again, or maybe after you finish the whole drawing, you'll realize that you made a mistake in the composition or the proportions. But instead of getting upset about it, you may end up realizing that it's just a part of your style. It's something, it gives it your drawing character, makes it different than the photograph or something. It just gives it a little more flavor to your drawing rather than being so accurate or so realistic. And those kinds of mistakes, if you do them consistently over and over and over, becomes a part of your style and who you are as an artist and what your drawings are. Basically, they become like a beautiful thing rather than something that's so negative or bad. So really, that's my hope for what this exercise will help achieve for you. And I also hope that it will just give you a shift in your mindset when it comes to approaching drawings or any art that you want to create, that making mistakes is just part of the process and it has to be done. Try this exercise for like a few weeks, maybe a month, and let me know how it goes. Comment back on this video. Let me know how this little exercise project goes for you and how you feel about it after doing it for a while. I'd love to hear from you. Yeah, be sure to check out other videos on my channel. I do videos about drawing, creativity, productivity, and just other things about life in general and curiosity. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourself. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.